I think it's helpful to step back a little bit and say, where does the salience of the passion principle come from in the first place? And I argue that it's really in the tension between two things. One is the challenges of being a worker in the post-industrial labor market, where we've seen a rapid decline in worker power and stability, and the expectation that an organization is going to take care of you or try and promote you, right? Those things that were kind of hallmarks of at least white collar work through the sort of early 1970s are no longer there. They're not there for us to rely on. And so we don't believe we can trust the labor market to kind of hold our socioeconomic stability in the same way. But that in combination with this idea that that we have to have self-expressive projects in our lives. So one of my favorite things is Giddens' self-reflexive project, this idea that in a really chaotic sort of postmodern world, we feel like we have to find meaning because we can't, that meaning isn't sort of given to us. And so we're looking for these self-reflexive projects. And so that in combination suggests that one core way to resolve that tension is to find work that's self-fulfilling in the labor market, regardless of the kinds of a precarity that it might entail. And so from that perspective, we can ask, well, what are the alternatives there? One alternative is trying to shrink the footprint that work has in our lives. So one of the hallmarks of white collar work today is 50, 60, 70 hour a week work weeks and the expectation for deep work devotion. And so if we can walk that back and say, what would it mean to be a professional where I worked 40 hours a week, I had predictable time off, I had vacation time, and I didn't have to take that home with me? That would make professional work a lot different, even if it wasn't our passion. And there's also places for an expansion of thinking about enjoyment of work on a spectrum. So we might find enjoyment of work in the colleagues that we work with, in the organization that we're aligned with, rather than our passion for the topic. And then more radically is, how do we find work outside? How do we find meaning outside of work? So it's something that I call diversifying our meaning making portfolio, a little bit tongue in cheek, but this idea that in order for, if work is a place where we find support and resources to be able to support the thing that we're passionate about outside of work, why is that not an appropriate alternative to being passionate about our work?